So what are some misconceptions wrestlers have about these issues where they'll come in and say things or talk to you where you're like, I don't know that you guys are looking at it from the right perspective kind of thing?
Yeah, they don't, and nor would I expect them to. The layman doesn't understand necessarily the standard for trademark infringement. And the standard is the similarity of the marks and the relatedness of the goods or services. So, I like to point out, kind of tongue in cheek and poke the bear a little bit with WWE, that they said Taz with 2 Z's is different from Taz with 1 Z. Well, that's not the legal standard. That was just the line that they gave. That was BS. The legal standard is phonetics matter. Even foreign languages matter. Not that there's a foreign language equivalent to Taz, but if you're using the word shadow, right? I'm Mike the Shadow Dockins, but then somebody else already has a trademark in Portuguese for shadow, whatever that is. Those are legally the same. So you can't just assume that because you have 1 Z or 2 Z's or a Z instead of an S or an intentional misspelling that it's okay to use. It's not. It's not at all. They're legally the same, and you could be stopped. Rhino with an I versus Rhino with a Y. That's another one that WWE managed to pull off.
Yeah,
it's nonsense, right? It's complete nonsense. But that's what, if you don't know the standard, if you don't have somebody looking out for you from a talent side, you wouldn't know that. And they're telling you this is okay, and here's why. Okay. They're not going to mislead me. Well, I wouldn't say that. In fact, they might mislead you.
Do you think that Tony Khan with AEW runs any risk by being less aggressive, by allowing more talent to own their names? And, he doesn't own the music. A lot of that stuff is licensed. Do you think there's any risk in Tony being a little bit more loose with IP?
Not really, honestly, because the only risk he has is that I'll just pull a random name. Sean Spears. Let's say Sean Spears is 10 years from now, if Sean's retired or moved on or doing whatever he's doing, are they going to sell Sean Spears merch? Are they losing out on T-shirts for the chairman? They're not going to sell them, just like WWE doesn't when your Max Moons leave the company. They're not selling Max Moon stuff. There might be the occasional action figure, right, that comes along later because they want to have obscure characters in an action figure line, but they're not really losing anything by not having it. They will have access to the footage and the pay-per-views and all that. They have that in perpetuity. They can have that and sell it and use it and repackage and do whatever they want with it for all time. So it's not really stopping them from doing anything.
Do you think that WWE is kind of waking up to like how kind of callous they look in some circumstances here? I mean, I look at the Chelsea Green incident recently, and it seems like they just backed down for no other reason than the bad press that they were getting over it.
Chelsea is a client, and I know Chelsea, and she's a sweet girl. I think at first I thought it was a spite move. I really, truly in my heart believed this is purely out of spite that they did this. But as things progressed and they, abandoned it and moved out of the way and she'll get to own her own name, it occurred to me, I think that the attorneys that they were using aren't wrestling fans and just didn't realize that she had been released. They just didn't have a clue. That's what I think it was. I really don't think it was spite. I think that the top people, of course, do. The attorneys that I've talked to and their general counsel are wrestling fans, but they've got a huge network of attorneys and people they use both internally and externally. And I don't think they're wrestling fans. And I just don't think they realize this is somebody that we let go.
What's your take on, as somebody who is an IP person, what was your take on the Cody Rhodes reported swap for his IP for the IP to use the Rhodes last name?
Yeah, Cody is a client. So that's one of those that I can't really comment on.
Oh, I didn't know if you could give us some insight into how that, because I think that he kind of teased that it was confirmed that was the deal. I don't know if it ever got confirmed or anything like that.
He said whatever he said. All I can say is it worked out the way it should have.
Okay, cool.